All right, I'm going to be walking through the content inventory template, explaining a little bit about what the content inventory audit is, what we can use it for, and how we can use it, and then what we should be looking at in this data and steps that we can get out of looking at this data and next steps for our content strategy. So you can use the content inventory audit template for a few different things. You can use it on your own website if you're looking for content that's sort of just above underperforming. It's kind of that mediocre, it's in the median, and you're looking for content that needs to be refreshed in order to get onto page one. That could be one way that you can use this. You can also use it as a way to identify your top performing content, and see what you did well there that you can replicate. And then you can also do it to kind of analyze your competitors' content and see what they are doing well that you can do better. So there's a few different things in this template. I'll go through it. What we have here, we extracted data from Ahrefs. So if I scroll over, you can see that we've got the URLs in the left column. We've got the date, the page title, a composite score, referring domains, shares, and organic traffic. So to break this down, these are the three KPIs that we're looking at for this sheet. This is all going to depend on what your KPIs are. So, as you copy the sheet, you can change this. I've also changed it as well as I'm working on one for the Tough site as well. We don't get a lot of social shares, so this is not a KPI for us. And then also, if you have one of these KPIs and there's a lot of blank, so if you have a lot of URLs that have 0 shares, it's going to skew your data and it's going to really mess it up. And that's something that I'm working on right now on a few different websites that I'm analyzing. So figuring out what your correct KPIs are, something that you're going to have data for each one of these URLs, that is an important first step in populating the spreadsheet. You might be using a few different tools as well. SEMrush, Google Search Console, and Google Analytics most likely will be 3 that you use. You could also use Screaming Frog. If you don't have access to Google Analytics or Search Console and you're doing it with a competitor, Screaming Frog might be a quick way to get a list of all URLs and page titles, and then you could look that up, a VLOOKUP against their SEMrush or Ahrefs data as well. So the first thing that we do is, we want to split this up into quartiles. We have all of this data here. We know that this piece of content has 49 referring domains. This one has 816. This has 109 or 82. But how do we know how good that is? So the first thing we want to do is split that up into quartiles, using the Quartile Formula in Google Sheets. And what we're doing is we're building a quartile, well, 4 quartiles, or 4 sections for all of our 3 different KPIs. So what we're doing is for our referring domains for quartile 1, we're setting the upper bound. So for the lower bound of quartile 1 is always going to start at 0. There's always the possibility that you have 0 shares, 0 referring domains, and 0 organic traffic. So the lower bound is 0. And then this quartile formula here is calculating the upper bound based on the content that we have in that first tab. And then for quartile 2, the upper bound. So this is going to be our median here. So we know that our median for referring domains is 52. So if you get above 52, you're above, the median. And we can look at that across our shares as well, and our traffic. So we know if we can get above this Q2 number that we're above the median, and then anything in quartile 3 or 4, anything in quartile 3 or 4 is really your top performing content. So as we look back on the first tab, we're going to be looking for what quartile that content falls into, and then across all the KPIs. Is it constantly hitting quartile 3 and 4 for referring domains? For instance, this is quartile 4 for referring domains, for shares as well. And then for traffic, it is 3. So that's a good piece of content. Again, we could use this to filter. We can filter for referring domains that are in quartile 2 and 3, or only 2 if we want to look for content that needs to be improved, if we want to redo some outreach and get more backlinks. But the spreadsheet does take it one step further, and it builds this composite score. So what this composite score is it takes into account all of the different quartiles for the 3 different KPIs. So it's looking and it's saying, okay, we're in quartile 4 for referring domains, we're in quartile 4 for shares, and then quartile 2 for traffic. And then it builds this composite score here by multiplying those different quartiles and taking the sum and then comparing it across all of the other content as well. So then we can quickly filter to see what is our top performing content here. This is quartile 10. We can look at the content that is performing in quartile 10 and figure out what we did there. And then in this next video, in the next template, we'll take it a step further by doing a time-based analysis. As you can see, we have the published date here, and we can see that this was published in 2018, 2017, 2018, 2019. So, maybe that is leading to why this is in quartile 10 or a composite score of 10 versus some of the other content. So what we have here is a really good start. We also have the weights as well. If we want to weight this and say that, hey, referring domains are not weighted as high as shares or as high as traffic, then we can easily do that. If I say, hey, I want to put this up to a 3 because that's how important it is, then we can jump in here and see that it will go in and calculate our scores. Now this is a 14.75 because it's got more referring domains, even though it might not be as top performing in terms of shares or organic traffic. So I'll put this down at a 1. And then again, we can see that, now we don't have any 10s. We have 8s here. So you can, quickly jump in here. You can change some of these metrics around. If referring domains are not that important to you, you can switch this metric with something else that is, more important. Shares as well, or organic traffic. And then, you can jump in here and just update this formula so that it is pulling from the right column to calculate the correct quartiles. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope this is something that you use. And if you do, be sure to, leave a comment or, reach out on LinkedIn or anything and let us know that you found this helpful. Thank you.